The Commandant General of the Royal Marines has been setting out his vision for the future of the force. Major General Ed Davis was speaking at the Defence IQ Amphibious Operations conference in London, where senior military figures from around the world have been sharing ideas. And he told Forces News a decade of land-based operations have had some impact on Britain's amphibious skills, but they're working hard to rebuild where needed. James Hurst reports.
Well, good morning.
Major General Davis is just under a year into his job as Commandant General of the Royal Marines. Today, he was keynote speaker at this conference, considering operations in the post-Afghanistan era. He cited the evacuations of hundreds of British nationals from Lebanon in 2006 and again last year from Libya as just one of the sort of emergencies that amphibious forces might be called to deal with at short notice. Their role tackling piracy in unstable regions of the world also on his list, and the potential for conflict over resources in the Arctic. But he pointed to the projection of power to prevent conflict before it happens as the best solution. General Davis took up the post of Commandant General after leading Herrick 14 in Afghanistan, and his American counterpart at this conference suggested a decade of focusing on land-based operations may have reduced the US Marine Corps' amphibious skill base. So I asked, had the same happened to the Royal Marines?
As we've gone through the last 10 years of campaign, we've really worked hard to maintain our core amphibious maritime power projection capabilities. We haven't kept them at the level we would have wished, but I myself, as part of our workup training for Helmand, we conducted a lead commando group with the brigade headquarters deployment to the eastern freeboard of the States, where we work with the US Marine Corps, and you've heard today they did similar things. So I think we've kept the core capabilities alive, and I think that as you saw in Libya last year, when the Cougar deployment, which the RFTG did, we actually can deliver maritime and amphibious effect very capably today.
We live in an era of straitened financial times and great uncertainty about what the next kind of conflict and location might be. The Army's reorganising around multi-role brigades. Does specialism like amphibiosity still have a relevance here?
Well, I mean, I would sort of question your premise of the question. I mean, in framing your question, I think you've probably made the assumption that amphibiosity isn't versatile and agile. I think it is fundamentally. It is one of the capabilities which Defence has decided it needs, alongside the Lead Airborne Task Force, alongside the Lead Armoured Infantry Battle Group. And the challenge now is to work those forces together in an integrated approach with the joint enablers from Joint Forces Command, so that we have a good golf bag of capabilities which can be used to deal with what will probably short notice, novel crises that pop up in the future.
You mentioned several times the necessity for partnering, for working alongside NATO allies, particularly for interoperability. Are the days of going it alone past us?
I don't think they are. I think we need to have, and our government and our people will expect us to be able to look after our people and our interests, whether that's in terms of supporting UK resilience as we did during the Olympics, or overseas in an emerging crisis where people are in harm's way. We would wish to, and quite often probably will do that with partners, but sometimes we'll have to do it alone. And I think that Defence is very much about maintaining full spectrum capability to look after our people and interests wherever they should arise, and be able to do it on our own.